It's the last Sunday of the month of December in the year 2025. Good afternoon. Welcome to Weekend Central. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news hub here at the Cybercrime. We're live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana and on DSTV channel 279. My name is George Queening. Top of the stories is our Oil refinery tour resumes crude oil operations after years of inactivity following successful turnaround maintenance works. This afternoon, we engage a watcher of the space on its sustainability. Ghana records slight reduction in fire incidents between January and November 2025 as public awareness and firefighter response improved nationwide. And also, all is set for the biggest end-of-year party in Ghana, the 3FM All-White Party at the La Badi Beach Hotel later this evening. Well, we have details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes if you spend your time with me. You can also get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from the oil and gas sector. The Oil refinery tour has restarted crude oil refinery operations. This move follows several years of inactivity by the refinery, thus marking a major step in efforts to revive Ghana's downstream petroleum sector. The resumption follows the successful completion of extensive turnaround maintenance works on the refinery's crude distillation unit carried out between August 1 and October 30, 2025. According to the Oil refinery, the maintenance was completed within schedule and in line with international engineering, safety and operational standards. As part of a phased transition toward a full operational capacity and in advance of the refinery's official recommissioning, TOR will continue operating over the coming months to stabilize systems, optimize performance, and ensure sustained operational reliability. Well, let's go on to the telephone lines and engage Duncan Amwa, who is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. Good afternoon, Duncan. What impact will the restart of TOR have on Ghana's downstream petroleum sector and overall energy security in the country?
Hello.
Duncan.
Yes, sir. George.
So if you can hear me, what I want to know is how will this impact the restart of TOR impact Ghana's downstream petroleum sector and the overall energy security in the country?
Well, let me start by saying this. Ghana consumes almost $400 million worth of petroleum products on a monthly basis. What that means is that the Bank of Ghana would have to find 400 million every single month to be able to pay for the petroleum we import into the country. Mind you, when you import crude, that will be a lot less than when you are importing the finished products, which is Argo, PMS, Kero, Aviation Kero, and all of them. And so it will be a bit easier for our forex issues if we were refining locally. What we are paying for out there is not only the finished product, but we also pay premiums to be able to land the finished product in Ghana that we sell to the people. So what it means is that I will not have to take the dollar, plenty of it, to Europe, which is Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and all of those places across the Gulf region to be able to import finished products, because TOR would equally be delivering the finished product. But that will mean that there will be a certain cut on the forex that you and I spend on a month in order to be able to get petroleum products for the people. So that is one, the pressure on the city is. Again, you also talk of something called petroleum security. You cannot continue as a country to rely on refineries across Europe to feed your system such that anytime these refineries are handicapped and are unable to pump more products for you, then it means that you are also going to be caught flank-footed. And so you would need to ensure that as a country, you also have the space to refine your own products. That is also very significant. Again, technology and skills transfer. If you buy products from European destinations, you are simply telling the refiners in Europe to continue to exist or be in business at your expense. Meanwhile, you have engineers, technicians, you have all the technical people down here who could also master refining, right? They master the skill, they master the technology, they master the art, they master the economics of refining. If you do not put these, your critical risk, human resources together and ensure that they keep being at work,
okay,
you are simply killing their skill, you are killing everything at the expense of the European refinery. You are simply telling them to keep existing whilst your people do not have jobs.
Okay.
Find it for the last time, George. There came a point in time in Ghana's history, late 1990s, when the oil refinery single-handedly was contributing about 5% of Ghana's GDP. It's significant. Yeah. And so it is very welcoming, it is very refreshing to wake up to hear that the giant that we once had in Tor is coming back to life. And I think that happy news, the only caveat is we cannot jubilate because it's early days.
Okay.
Refineries do not exist only on probably a single cattle refining.
Okay.
And you and I are aware that Tor has a lot of debt on their books. Mm-hmm. The young one leading Tor currently has done a yeoman's job. You know, the turnaround maintenance completed. He's been able to secure some cargo for, you know, the TPU to start working. Coolers are being put in place to even enhance, the production numbers from 28,000, 45,000. Those are significant milestones that the young man and his team have been able to achieve. Significant. The only caveat is that if the finance ministry do not go in there to make sure that whatever resources that are needed to keep the refinery afloat or sustainable is given to them, they will simply do what they can now, run for a few months and shut down again.
Exactly.
And the usual cliche to all of us will be that, we've shut down maintenance. But you and I will be aware that there's a lot of trouble that refineries do often shut down. If I'm doing processing 45,000 barrels and I don't have another cargo coming in, right, with crude, I'm simply setting up to fail because when I'm done processing and there's no cargo to feed the plant, I'll simply have to go off. So we would use your platform to encourage the managers of our economy to see to it that this significant strategic asset is kept running so that you and I can have the products we need. You and I can be sure that at least prices of petroleum products could be a bit comfortable on our pockets because, again, if I'm not importing from Europe to pay for logistics, which is the vessels that will bring the cargo to me, I'm paying for the captain and the crew, I'm paying for insurance, I'm paying for every other logistical cost to be able to bring the product. If I'm able to eliminate all of that because I'm now loading from Tor directly,
I think
you can imagine how much you save as a country.
I think you've answered most of the questions, but as you rightly said, it's a good feat. But what challenges do you anticipate Tor may have faced during this phase transition toward full operational capacity?
The truth is that they have done a human bit, but like I indicated, it will be down to finance, it will be down to finance, it will be down to finance once again. If we do put in the requisite investment to bring to Tor some of the significant equipment that they would need, as I speak with you, BDCs are delivering diesel at 50 ppm or parts per million and 10 ppm. Very clean diesel to Ghana. Tor is unable to deliver that standard because your deauthorizers are not in there. And so they would need to put in the right investment, ensure that Tor is able to deliver as efficiently as the European refineries or Dangote refinery is able to deliver. That way, the products coming out will be competitive. Again, reduce the risk of inefficiency and stealing. I was quite aware that as recent as last week, when management had done everything to put the plant, up and running, somebody had gone in there some way, somehow, to turn off a valve.
Okay.
That should be feeding the plant. So there's not, to sleep on the possibility of sabotage.
Okay.
Internally.
Okay.
Again, would need the financing, and for which I think the finance ministry should go in there, put in the requisite investment to be sure that Ghanaians will continue to be happy a year after we said Tor had come back on stream, so that it doesn't become the old cycle. They come back, they work for 6 months or 3 months, and then they go off again for years. Okay. That will not be countenanced this time.
Duncan, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure tapping your expertise on topical issues relating to the oil and gas sector. Duncan Amwa is the Chief Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC Ghana. Away from that, Ghana recorded 5,584 fire incidents between January and November 2025, representing a slight reduction compared to the 5,596 cases recorded during the same period in 2024. The 12-incident drop, amounting to a 0.21% decrease, points to gradual improvement in fire prevention efforts despite growing fire risk. According to the Ghana National Fire Service, more than 30% of fire was successfully controlled by members of the public before firefighters arrived at the scene, indicating increased effectiveness of fire safety education and community awareness across the country. The service also revealed that over 300 million cedis worth of property was saved within the period, attributing the achievement to faster emergency response, the dedication of firefighters, and improved cooperation between fire personnel and the public. Yeah, Ghana recorded 5,584 fire incidents between January and November 2025, representing a slight reduction compared to the 5,596 cases recorded during the same period in 2024. The 12-incident drop, amounting to a 0.21% decrease, points to gradual improvement in fire prevention efforts despite growing fire risk. According to the Ghana National Fire Service, more than 30% of the fires were successfully controlled by members of the public before firefighters arrived at the scene, indicating increased effectiveness of the safety education and community awareness across the country. Well, let's stay on this very development and engage DO2 Desmond Aka, who's the head of public relations of the Ghana National Fire Service. And Aka, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. And from January to November 2025, Ghana recorded 5,584 fire incidents, a slight reduction from 2024. How significant is this 0.21% decrease to the service?
Well, let me say a very good afternoon to your cherished viewers. This comes as a good piece of news, even though the fire risks are still high. The slight reduction also gives us hope that at least our response time greatly improved. When you look at also the professionalism and the dedication of our men, it's also culminated in chalking this success. And if you also look at the cooperation that we had from the general public, I think generally it is also improving. And even if you look at the number of fires that the general public were able to extinguish before arrival, it tells us that our education is also working, which gives us the encouragement that if we are able to intensify our efforts, we'll be able to achieve much more reduction even before the end of the year. And even if you look at in terms of the rate of fires as compared to last year, even within this festive season, you would realize that it has greatly reduced, unlike before. So it gives us the encouragement that with the public's cooperation and then with our intensified effort, we should be able to reduce these numbers further. Again, another factor that we also chalked is the fact that because there was an improvement in our response time and then we had better cooperation from the public, we were able to salvage properties worth over 300 million.
Yeah.
This is unprecedented, and then we hope that we'll continue to garner the support from the members of the public such that they would adhere to the basic fire safety education that we have been churning out in our lorry parks, public places like the schools, the worship centers, and even in our residential settings, such that within this festive season, we'll be much more careful with the use of our electricity, where we don't need to overload our electrical socket. We need not to do that. When we are not in need of the electrical equipment, we need to be able to put them off and unplug their plugs from the receptacles. And again, if our gas cylinders are also leaking, the best place to send it is the filling point so that the technicians could also look at it and then work around it. We should also be cautious with putting our naked lights, the matches, the lighters at the mercy of our kids who would then play with it and create a fire condition. If we don't have doors, especially those of us who have kids and toddlers amongst us, we should be able to have doors to our kitchen so that the kids will not have access to the kitchen to be able to go there and then turn on the knobs to our gas burners and then stoves to create a fire condition. If we are also using a cylinder, which are way beyond 15 years, it is about time we discard them off and then to get a new one. And please, you see, fire safety is not anything abstract. It is some of the basic things that we do. So our decorations that we have done, the Christmas trees that we have in our residential premises or in our offices, where are we keeping them so that they do not get access to ignition sources or heat sources? And then we are also praying that if there is any fire situation, if there is any road crash, if there is also any form of entrapment, the general public should do us good by calling us early enough on our emergency number, which is 112, or any of our hotlines, 030-277-2446, 030-277-2446, as quickly as possible so that we can also respond to save lives and property.
That's one. Over 30% of fires were controlled by members of the public before firefighters arrived at the scene. What does this tell us about fire safety education in Ghana?
Yes, it gives us hope that what we have been doing, the education that we have been churning out in our schools, even on social media, on our television sets, and then the public places that we visit, is really yielding results. At least it gives us the indication that a certain section of our population has now imbibed. They have now acquired the requisite knowledge to be able to deal with fires at their initial stages. And therefore, when we are better resourced and then with intensified effort, together with the general public, we'll be able to even get higher percentages such that a lot more properties will be salvaged. And therefore, we would want to encourage each and every one who even is under my voice to also listen to some of these basic safety tips so as to be able to prevent some of these preventable fires from occurring.
Desmond, before you take leave of us, I know most of the times when you're fighting fires at the marketplaces, accessibility is a challenge. Has that improved in any way?
Well, accessibility continues to be a challenge, especially with our makeshift market, where the structures there are predominantly wooden, and then the congestion there is very high. And therefore, not until such markets are all pulled down and modernized, we are going to have such challenges. But be as it may, we are going to continue to engage the market authorities and the assemblies to be able to create the needed space, and then we would also give the needed education to the occupants of these markets so that we can reduce the rate of fire incidents in such spaces.
Thank you so much, Desmond. GO2 Desmond Aka is the head of public relations of the Ghana National Fire Service. Let us know what you make of this very feat. We are active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Engage us with your comments, reservations, and opinions. Hopefully, read them and share them to the rest of the world. And now, from extending the presidential term and taxing presidential emoluments to capping the size of government, the Constitutional Review Committee's recommendations are drawing both praise and pushback. Governance experts, civil society actors, and ordinary citizens have all weighed in on the proposals, reflecting a wide range of opinions and debate. As reactions continue to pour in, the proposals are fast becoming one of the most consequential constitutional conversations Ghana has witnessed in decades. The Constitutional Review Committee on Monday presented its far-reaching recommendations that could significantly reshape Ghana's governance, accountability systems, and democratic culture. At the heart of the proposal is a major rethink of the executive. Now, the committee recommended extending the presidential term from 4 to 5 years, arguing that the current term is too short for meaningful governance and long-term planning. Governance expert Professor Bafo Ajimendua agrees wholeheartedly with this recommendation.
The 5-year term that has been proposed is a good one. It's not out of sync with many other countries that we know.
At the same time, the committee proposed lowering the minimum age for presidential candidates from 40 years to 30, widening the space for youth participation at the highest level of leadership. Now, these recommendations have elicited various reactions from the public.
From 40 to 30, I think is fine. From 4 years to 5 years, I don't think that's a good idea. If everything is going bad, we have to wait an extra year before we can vote you out.
So I think 4 years is okay. So I think 30 years is good.
For me, I'll not agree to the age, the 30, I'll not agree to it.
In a move aimed at promoting fairness and transparency, the president's salary, allowances and facilities, they would now be taxable with the newly proposed Independent Public Emoluments Commission, responsible for determining the pay of the president and other Article 71 office holders. To strengthen the separation of powers, the committee recommended that members of parliament should no longer be appointed as ministers of state. In addition, the total number of ministers, including deputies, would be capped at 57, reducing the size and the cost of government. Well, governance expert with the Center for Democratic Development, Professor John Osai-Kwapon, fully supports this recommendation.
I personally like the idea of truly decoupling executive power, from legislative. The recommendation that we stopped the practice of appointing majority of cabinet/ministers from, you allow your parliamentarians to focus on legislative work.
The proposal also addresses presidential immunity. Under the new framework, criminal proceedings could be brought against a former president within 4 years of leaving office for acts done in a personal capacity while in office. Turning to Parliament, the committee proposed capping the size of Parliament at 276 members, preventing unchecked expansion. It also recommended that Ghanaians by birth who hold dual citizenship should be allowed to contest parliamentary elections without renouncing their other nationality. And now in the fight against corruption, the committee called for a new independent anti-corruption and ethics commission with exclusive prosecutorial powers, removing that authority from the Attorney General. Judicial reforms are also on the table. The Supreme Court would be capped at 15 justices, while the Chief Justice would serve a single, non-renewable 10-year term, and it is aimed at promoting stability and independence of the judiciary. The asset declaration regime would also be strengthened, requiring the Auditor General to verify declarations and allowing them to be unsealed upon submission to enhance transparency. These and other recommendations remain proposals awaiting implementation. What more is needed to move the document to the next level?
Sustained public education. We don't want a repeat of history where we would go through this entire process and not even one recommendation is, even if it doesn't pass, one recommendation is even put up, whether if it's an entrenched provision, it is put up, for a referendum, or if it's an ordinary provision, Parliament considers it.
Let's listen on a constitutional review. As statesman, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo strongly opposed proposals by the Constitutional Review Committee to extend Ghana's presidential term from 4 to 5 years. In a statement, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo insisted that the 4 years is sufficient for a prepared government to deliver on its mandate, warning that calls for extensions only encourage inefficiency and corruption. He also criticized the frequent abandonment of national projects by successive governments, describing the practice as wasteful and a major source of corruption. While he did not insist on constitutional enforcement, he said continuity of national projects must become a binding principle of responsible governance. Dr. Nyahonya Otamaklo further called for the abolition of ex gratia payment and excessive post-office benefits for public office holders, arguing that public servants are already adequately compensated through their salaries. He said state resources should instead be used to improve the living conditions of ordinary Ghanaians. He expressed strong support for appointing ministers from outside Parliament to ensure a clear separation of powers between the executive and the legislature. Well, in more news this afternoon, 140 undocumented Nigerian migrants and Ghanaian landlord linked to prevailing cybercrime activities in the country have been arrested in a dawn operation. The suspects are alleged to be involved in cyber-enabled financial crimes, including romance scams and extortion. Here's a report by Stanley Niblo.
Coordinated dawn swoop targeting organized cybercrime networks was carried out by operatives from the Cybersecurity Authority of Ghana, the Ghana Police Service, National Security, and the Ghana Immigration Service. The operation targeted suspects involved in mobile money fraud, romance scams, sextortion, business email compromise, and wire fraud. In all, 141 suspects were arrested at two separate locations in Lashibi and Tabora in the Greater Accra region. At Tabora, 100 Nigerian nationals were arrested together with their Ghanaian landlord, who resides in the same compound. 41 other suspects, all Nigerians, 2 of them females, were also arrested at Lashibi. During the operation, security operatives retrieved 38 laptops, 150 mobile phones, and several internet routers. Preliminary investigations indicate that the suspects are undocumented migrants who entered the country through unapproved routes. This has raised concerns about Ghana's porous borders amid heightened security threats in the sub-region. Following the operation, the police CID briefed the media.
The Ghana Police Service, Cybersecurity Authority, Ghana Immigration Service, and National Security reiterate their unwavering commitment to protecting Ghana's digital ecosystem, securing the financial systems, and dismantling criminal networks that threaten national security and economic stability.
The acting director of communications at the Cybersecurity Authority also spoke to TV3 regarding the operation.
This is an operation that started midnight around 1, and we concluded all the activities this morning. And we have since been undertaking further forensic, investigations into some of the items that we've collected. I'm sure within the coming weeks we'll conclude investigations and the direction on the prosecutions, or whether they will be repatriated or prosecuted before repatriated. Those decisions will be taken when investigation concludes. But fact of the matter is that they are currently in custody.
The 140 Nigerian suspects have since been transported to a holding center for further profiling and investigations, while the Ghanaian landlord is currently being held by National Security. Earlier, the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, warned of severe consequences Ghanaian landlords could face for renting properties to undocumented migrants involved in criminal activities.
If your premises is used in carrying out fraud, you are equally liable for aiding and assisting, and that's why we picked up the Ghanaian landlord. And this is a message to every Ghanaian landlord. Okay. Be careful who you are renting your apartments to, and make sure that your premises are not being used in the perpetration of crime, else we will pick you up as an accessory to crime.
Forensic analysis of the seized electronic devices is currently underway. Already, security agencies have arrested close to 1,000 suspects linked to various cybercrime activities across the country. The Joint Task Force has hinted at expanding the operation to other regions as part of efforts to sanitize Ghana's cyberspace. Stanley Niblo, TV3 News, Accra.
Still on matters of security, a young woman who was allegedly held captive for 4 days at Daloguyili, a suburb of Tamale in the northern region, has been rescued following a swift police operation. The successful intervention by the IGP Special Operations Team has brought relief to her family and renewed public confidence in security operations across the Tamale metropolis. Stalini Blow has the rest of the story.
According to a situation report from the IGP Special Operations Team, the rescue followed a distress call. The call reported an alleged kidnapping at Daloguyili, a community within the Tamale metropolis, where a young woman identified as Haruna Adamu was said to be unlawfully detained by a suspect, Fuseni Ibrahim, a resident of the area. Acting promptly on instructions from the police command, the IGP Special Operations Team, led by Chief Inspector Abdullahi Tahiru, moved to the suspect's residence. Upon arrival, officers found the suspect in the company of the victim. The suspect was immediately arrested without resistance, and the young woman was safely retrieved and secured. Before he was taken away, he pleaded with the police to allow him destroy a charm he had used on the girl. Another charm he had tied around the girl's waist was removed. Both the suspect and the victim were subsequently transported to the Northern Regional Police Command for further action. The suspect was formally handed over to the Regional Criminal Investigations Department (CID) for detention and thorough investigation into the alleged kidnapping. Meanwhile, the parents of Haruna Adamu were invited to the command, where she was officially reunited with her family. Following the incident, officers resumed routine patrols across the Tamale metropolis as part of enhanced security measures for the festive season. These patrols are intended to increase police visibility, deter crime, and strengthen public confidence in law enforcement. In a similar operation earlier, the team clamped down on illicit drug peddlers operating in known hotspots within the metropolis.
What did I do? I have nothing. Oh, wait, check. I have nothing with me, sir.
So what are you holding? What is that?
Hey, stuff.
Which stuff?
This ganja.
Which grade? Is it for you?
Amnesia.
Is it for you?
Oh, not with me. Somebody will buy.
During patrols, intelligence received from national security operatives led to the arrest of one Ibrahim Abudu at Taha. He was found in possession of quantities of tramadol capsules and dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. A subsequent search was conducted at his place of abode. Further intelligence during the patrols resulted in the arrest of one Abdul Hanan at Gumani, who was also found in possession of a parcel of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. Upon interrogation, Abdul Hanan identified Muhammad Ibrahim as a supplier.
This one is for me.
It's for you. Okay.
I brought it from someone is there.
From where is the person? Volta region.
The person is in
the person brought it or you sent it?
No, the person brought it for me.
The operation team subsequently moved to the supplier's residence, where a search led to the retrieval of sacks and parcels of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, resulting in his arrest. The team also extended its operation to the Changli area, a known hotspot where the Aluta boys allegedly trade in illicit drugs. Upon sighting the police team, individuals at the location fled the scene, leaving behind quantities of benylene codeine, synthetic opioids including Rafinol, Red 225, bupropion tablets, and dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. Police say efforts are underway to apprehend the owners of the recovered exhibits, who are currently at large. The operations have significantly enhanced police visibility and contributed to crime deterrence during the festive season. Please assure the public that continuous intelligence-led operations remain ongoing to ensure the safety and security of lives, property, and economic activities within the Tamale metropolis.
You're watching Weekend Central here on TV3, the last Sunday of the December month edition. We're going for commercial break. We'll be back shortly. In regional hub this afternoon, Damongora Borisa Keliseri the first, together with the Savannah Regional Minister and other key figures within the Savannah region, are this afternoon leading a crusade against the sale and use of illicit drugs in the Damongo township. The procession, facilitated by the Dingoro Caravan movement, are visiting chemical shops and other shops in Damongo, advocating for a stop in the trade and usage of illicit drugs. The Ghana Police Service recently arrested 27 suspects during targeted illicit drugs operations in Damongo, Salaga, and Buipe. But now let's go on to Zoom and engage our regional correspondent, that's Christopher Mwako, on this very development. Christopher, thanks for joining us. How widespread is the drug menace in Damongo and how worrying is it?
Yes, so George, if you look at the sale and usage of illicit drugs in the 5 regions of the north, it is something that is a concern to residents within these catchment areas, particularly in the Savannah region and especially in the Damongo community, which happens to be the capital of the Savannah region. Recently, police suits in the Damongo township and other districts within the Savannah region has resulted in the arrest of some 27 persons in relation to the usage and sale of these illicit drugs. This has become a major concern for residents within these catchment areas. And this morning and afternoon, the Damangora, together with the Gonjaland Youth Association, the Savannah Regional Coordinating Council, and other stakeholders in the region came out in their numbers to visit shops, to also visit vantage points, especially lorry parks and others, to advocate for the need for them to bring a stop to the sale and usage of these illicit drugs. Now, amongst these concerns have been the fact that they are advocating for a rehabilitation center in the Savannah region because the drugs has already eaten into the heads of the youth, and if nothing is done about it, in the coming years, it will become a major canker that will be difficult to deal with. And so it has become a major concern for the residents. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
In Savannah and Gonjaland, by extension, we need a rehabilitation center because the addiction has gotten to another level. And most of the guys, I will say my guys because I roll with them, most of them have gotten to a level where if we don't get professionals to join hands, there is no way we can clean them off the drugs. So this is the appeal I want to use this platform to make.
That the Gonjaland Youth Association, led by the president and then the regional minister, together with the chief of Damongo, step in here to also educate and do inspection about the illicit drug that is. Well, in a pharmacy setting, we are basically dealing with therapeutical reason. So such hard drugs, we deal or we sell it based on prescription drug. Whoever come here without a prescription drug, we find it difficult to sell it out because of the rules governing the pharmacy.
Christopher, before you take leave of us, how are authorities collaborating with security agencies to address this very challenge?
Yes, so George, in August this year, the Savannah Regional Coordinating Council led a prosecution of some 7 persons within the Savannah region. Now, recently, the 27 that have been arrested, the regional minister told me before coming on air that some of them have been fined, others are going to be prosecuted. And so he has given the firm assurance that, in recent times when these people are arrested, the politicians come in and say that this one belongs to party A, this one belongs to party B, and seeking bail for them. He has given the firm assurance that they are on top of the fight. They are going to leave no stone unturned and ensuring that every drug peddler, every drug user in the Savannah region who is caught will be made to face the full rigors of the law. Let's take a listen to what the regional minister has been saying.
Youth Association, the chiefs, and indeed all the security officers led by the Regional Coordinating Council with the RCC are all hands up against this menace. Not only in Damango municipality, but the entirety of the Savannah region. And anybody who happens to find himself in this unfortunate situation will definitely be laughing at the wrong side of his mouth. We are giving this education. Of course, we are using carrot and stick. The punishment is also there, and to which indeed the security forces are on the ground and they are arresting people. But we can get best effect if we get that kind of information from the citizenry. So our doors are open. Give us the alert. We'll definitely go for them and use that to prosecute them. And we're happy that the courts are also supporting us.
Christopher, thanks so much for your time. Christopher Marco is Savannah regional correspondent. They're bringing us updates on the drug menace in northern Ghana. And now, the United Nations Population Fund says rates of gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, and child marriage remain alarming in the country. The agency has engaged faith-based leaders to help address these challenges.
According to the United Nations Population Fund, adolescent pregnancy figures have remained at about 100,000 annually over the past 4 years, involving girls aged 10 to 14. Additionally, nearly 30% of women have experienced some form of violence. Although child marriage has declined from about 40% to 60% over the past decade, the pace of decline remains slow, raising concerns about achieving the target of zero child marriage by 2030. Faith-based leaders have therefore been engaged to help shift mindsets and address these challenges in support of effective national development.
And now the Ban's District Assembly has reiterated its dedication to advancing social protection initiatives focused on enhancing the well-being of vulnerable persons in the district. In line with this commitment, the Assembly has allocated financial resources and provided equipment to support individuals with disabilities, thereby fostering their livelihoods and promoting self-reliance. Here's a report by Claude Kumi Abisa.
In the Banda district, 121 individuals with disabilities received livelihood support to enhance their economic independence and family well-being. Funded by the District Assembly Common Fund, the initiative provided financial aid and equipment for small-scale businesses. The intervention underscores the Assembly's commitment to empowering vulnerable groups and was presented during a ceremony at the District Assembly.
They need such an item to boost their business so that they can earn a living. So this needs assessment was conducted thoroughly. That's why we came by buying those individual items. Aside that, we have also added 200 cedis each to every beneficiary of the deep freezer so that they can buy some of the sachet water or the soap water so that they can also start business in this festive season. It's not like the previous, we call the person, if you are entitled for 500 cedis or 1,000 cedis, then we give.
For the beneficiaries, the support comes as a major relief. They say the assistance will help improve their livelihoods and enable them to cater better for their families.
Any item that is allocated to you, if you use it wisely, judiciously, it will benefit you. But if you keep it outside, or if you sell it to somebody, it means you will suffer. So my advice is that we should give them into a good use.
Oh, madwuma no mo de ebe boa me pa. Fisa adwuma no me machines e wo ho nyina ye black one ne bi. Ye di ye nsada ne no nti na bre wo mpa. Ti we de me dede se me nya plug a me nan e na me kuma.
The Banda DC announced the implementation of a comprehensive monetary system designed to ensure that the items are used for their intended purposes, including the facilitation of police arrests.
The embossment we have done, I'm going to use that to track. So to find someone with such a fridge being embossed in the name of Banda District Assembly, I'll ask you, where did you get this? If you bought it from such a person, the fellow will be picked by the police.
Claude Komi Ebisa, TV3 News, Banda Hinkro.
Well, before we part company, all is set for the biggest end-of-year party in Ghana, the 3FM All-White Party at the Labadi Beach Hotel later this evening. The 3FM All-White Party promises to be a perfect night filled with a star-studded lineup and electrifying music performances from the hottest DJs in Accra. The 3FM All-White Party, which began 7 years ago, has evolved over the years from a simple overnight trip to Akosombo to a spectacular year and extravaganza aimed at bringing together listeners and viewers for a remarkable celebration after a hectic 2025. Stonebwoy and other performers who will be performing that night. You want to be a part of this very celebration. My name is Josh Quenin. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. Alternatively, join my colleagues, Grace Hamwajiman and Crosby Anana 7 on News 360. Kemini joins you after this very bulletin at 1 on hot issues. Thanks for watching. Always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.